It's crazy.
Corporate speed dating.
It is.
Yeah.
We talk about
high
it.
stakes as well.
Talk about it as The Bachelor. We're standing up there begging for a rose, trying to impress them. They can't even remember our names, and there's millions of dollars at stake. It's crazy.
We're in an industry where you're so frequently captured on this hamster wheel of the day-to-day that pitching actually gives you an opportunity to go, okay, well, where do we reinvent our product? How do we do something different?
This is the B-side. In this series, we're shining a light on the lesser-known stories behind some of Australia's most influential marketing, advertising and creative thinkers. We're going to discuss the often overlooked moments, the challenges, and most importantly, the inspirations that have fueled their successes. Because the real growth happens on the B-side. Welcome back to a very exciting episode of the B-Sides, where we are celebrating the inspiring humans behind extraordinary achievements. I am joined by Geer and Colt, or, the artists formerly known as Sam Geer and Chris Colter. They are one of the industry's most prolific dynamic duos, and I have been dying to get them on the podcast. So by way of introduction, Sam is the managing director at Initiative. He has held a litany of senior executive roles across Initiative, and Mediacom. Colt, Chief Strategy and Product Officer at Initiative. And what do you know? The same, a litany of senior executive roles at Initiative and and both have recently been raided from Initiative, and they are heading over to Accenture following one of the most talked about industry maneuvers of this year. Between the two of them, they have played a huge role, and I've seen this firsthand in developing the industry from grassroots to future leaders, talent development and advocacy. And look, between the two of you, your cabinet of awards is truly incredible. Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having us.
You're very welcome.
And thanks. Just keep talking. That intro was great. If you can continue.
Yeah, don't need to interview us. Just keep talking like that. It was great.
You can see why I've been so excited to get these gentlemen on. They are genuinely two of my most favourite people in agency land. So we're going to take a little bit of a sidestep in this episode, because Geer and Colt, they have something that I think is truly unique. And I've seen this very, very, very rarely in my career, which is they have cultivated a truly unique relationship that have followed one another across their careers. And I've seen this across the brands and the businesses that you've supported. We would have loved to have had the third leg of the stool here, but she's probably off kissing babies and shaking hands. Shout out to Mel Fine if she's
probably winning some more awards somewhere.
Yeah, stealing your thunder in some way, shape or form. But look, I wanted to start, I'd love to get behind the scenes of this relationship, because I think this has been, from the outside looking in, one of the secrets to your success. So look, how you guys want to tag team through these questions is up to you, but where do we start with this dynamic duo and the way that has shaped your careers?
Well, firstly, I think you're right. I do think it is pretty unique. And we certainly appreciate that. I think that's the first thing. We don't take it for granted. We recognise that we're very fortunate to have found each other. It sounds like a heterosexual life partner, but someone you can always be honest with and have a great friendship with. I think we spend so much time at work, right? With so many hours in this industry and hard hours as well. Yeah. To be able to go through that, the ups and the downs, the trophies on stages, and the pens and post-its in boardrooms. To do that with someone who's a genuine friend and not just a friend, but someone you respect and really admire, has been pretty special. And it's been about a decade now.
Yeah.
So.
And like your point on tag teaming, I think is really poignant, because I think we kind of see, we've got a very yin and yang style relationship, right? Yeah. There's mutual respect. We're amazing friends, but equally we've got such a unique skill set that complements each other that we know is pretty magical. And so there's a situation where I know what Sam's great at, he knows what we're good at, and we almost have an implicit, untold language between us that this is what I'm going to do, this is what you're going to do, and we have trust that it'll be the best possible outcome when we lean into that.
Sam, what's Chris good at?
A lot. Look, it's no secret. He's got a big, beautiful brain. See things differently to anyone else I've ever worked with, and it's so consistent. The thing I try and tell people if they haven't worked with him is he's not just good for this agency or on this client. He's a world class. I would struggle to imagine anyone that could be better at media strategy, and not just media strategy, but genuine communications thinking, I think.
Other side of the coin. Where does he fall short, and that's where you come in?
I love that question.
Not many places today is the real
there's
answer.
no cop-out answers here.
No
Geer.
cop out, but I think originally, 10 years ago, if we go back to when this started, I was a good presenter and was a lot more comfortable being the social one and going out and managing clients, and I have a lot of energy.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, and Colts was a kind of the opposite of that, more of an introvert, but a big brain. And I think he's always been incredible at ideas, even as a very junior early strategist. And our first campaign I remember working on together was on Kirk's, the soft drink. Kirk's were in the Coca-Cola portfolio.
I still have that email from you afterwards, the feedback. It was like, because I was a trainee strategist at the time, like junior title, most junior of junior titles. And it was just like, good job, fella. Like, it was like something like that. And then it was just like, you're gonna be something someday. And it was like,
so condescending.
No, but like it was no, but I think it's testament to your personality and your character. It's like you've always got to build people up mindset, which I think is, one of the reasons why you've been so successful is like you don't lead from the front, you bring others with you and you kind of elevate them underneath you. I think.
All right, other
special.
side of that coin, where do you fill in for Geer?
I mean, like, where I fill in for Geer, well, I don't know, man. Like, because, like, if I take a step back, like, similar to Sam, like, what he was saying about me, like, if I look at, like, what his strengths are, he's arguably, like, one of the most intelligent, decisive, which is really
Very
important
decisive.
in our industry, but also just, like, charismatic leaders. Like, it's really hard to hang around Sam and not be energized and sort of get your cup filled and feel like you're, 60 feet tall whenever you walk into a
What
room.
really irks you about him?
What really irks? He's too good.
Come
And it's like
Nah,
there's a
look,
standard up on that front.
I'm just poking and prodding because I think that
No.
the reason I'm doing that is because for you to be able to have that exchange, I think just shows the people listening that this isn't just, smoke and mirrors. Like, it's really hard to
Certainly
talk
not.
about a mate and to tell them what they're good at equally as well as what they're not good at.
Yeah.
And I think that is a testament to
I'll
what...
tell you something else I think that I often think about with our relationship, which, just hearing you talk then, we don't talk enough about publicly, which is I'm in a constant state of fear of letting Colts down.
Ooh.
I admire Colts more than anyone I've ever worked with at all in my career.
I'm sitting right here.
Sorry. Great podcast there. But I go to bed honestly every night and I hit the pillow and I think I didn't work hard enough for Colts today. And I honestly feel like that's probably my biggest insecurity is he was probably doing more than me today and I should have had his back more. And I wake up.
Amazing driver. Like, what a profound observation. I mean, whether it's Colts or whomever, like, I think that talks to drive.
Yeah, because you respect them so much, you want to do well for them.
Yeah.
And
the fact that it's mutual, like, he knows that I feel the same way about him. So then there's this, like, shared trust throughout whatever we do. I think, like, that is really important. It's like, in the military, you always, like, you never leave a man behind. It's like you always want to make sure that you're looking out for your brother and that you're kind of giving it your all because that's what they're doing for you. And so you want to, like, reciprocate that.
Yeah.
How does this shape your posture towards failure and experimentation?
I mean, it's so easy now, 10 years on.
Yeah.
And anyone who's tried to crack a pitch or an idea or who's been in a brainstorm will know the awkwardness and the vulnerability that it is required to try be creative in front of other people. It's so easy when you don't have to worry. You're not trying to impress each other.
Yeah, I think the best compliment we give each other is, "Oh, I don't hate that."
When we're trying to crack a pitch and we're throwing ideas back and forth and we could be like 7 hours in, if someone says, "Oh, I don't hate that," it's like we've got it. That's the idea.
Yeah.
And I think we're so comfortable with being uncomfortable in front of each other, and that idea of psychological safety, it shortcuts so many wrong turns, and it's infectious as well, because if we're like that with each other in front of other people and people know that no matter what you say you're going to get support or you're not going to be torn down, it's contagious, mate. Other people are like that then when we're not in the room because they know that's the behavior we're modeling.
Yeah, and I think on that one as well, the thing I think is interesting is we don't allow ourselves to shortcut.
Yeah.
So, like, we hold ourselves to account because, you can be in a room for 6 hours and, like, we haven't cracked it yet, and you can kind of, like, go with all of the pressure. We've still got time to deliver whatever this response is, whether it's like an annual plan or it's a pitch response or whatever it may be. And you can easily, copy in and go, well, let's just go with this. lowest common denominator, but like we kind of equally hold ourselves to account. It's like it's not good enough. We're not leaving here until it's in a place where we're both comfortable.
But that's the
and we
magic
back
trick,
it.
right? It's this perfect mix of radical accountability, but immense psychological space to play.
Exactly.
I'm fascinated. How does that permeate down into the teams that you guys, jointly lead, right? Because this can be quite intimidating. I mean, sitting across from what is, as you said, an infectious relationship. How do you cultivate that downward?
I'll start with the accountability point you just made. I think we hold each other to account a lot, right? So we do not accept mediocrity and constantly trying to make each other's work better. And I think that is probably, for me, the number one modeled behavior that has helped agencies we've worked at be successful, because they know before any work comes to one of us to review or to show or to work on together, it's got to be of a high standard.
Yep.
And cults can be quite intimidating to bring work to. This is a guy who is, the most awarded, recognized person in our industry, certainly locally. So if you're a, junior strategist who's a few years in or even a GBD or an MD, it's scary taking a presentation to cults and say, what do you think of this? And I think between us, we've managed to turn that from a fear of doing that into something that is welcomed. And actually, no, I want you to tear this. I want you to make this better. And we have learned to do it in a really positive way that doesn't demotivate people, but actually motivates them.
Yeah, and we brought like feedback loops into the way that we work about things, right? So at the end of every presentation, we do this thing. It's OGT, OBT. It's classic sort of like, what's one good thing that you did, and what's one better thing that you should do better. And importantly, what we do is we get our teams to basically do that for everyone around the table. So they start with us. So, the most junior person in our team goes, one thing that you did great today, Sam, was this. I'd probably say that you could have done this better. And then immediately it's like you could see him take it and appreciate that.
I usually storm out immediately.
You, office.
Yes.
But it like creates this environment that we're all here and we're all trying to kind of better ourselves. And, at the end of the day, that's what we all want, right?
We talk about so much of what we do in our industry is homogenized.
Yeah.
So many agencies have an end-to-end planning tool, a data set, it's all the same shit, right?
Yeah.
And we find like the first 94% of what we do, pretty much the same everywhere. And it's that last little 6% that is the hardest part. That is the thing that will differentiate us. That's the thing that we spend the hours on. And it only feels small at the time, but it's that magic that has helped separate us and helped us be successful. And I think we learned that from kind of our mentors coming up in the industry, and we kind of see it as our responsibility to then pass that down.
Yeah.
And look, as I mentioned, one of the things that I've noticed, I've been in this space for just shy of 4 years. I've noticed the role that the two of you have played, particularly within the grassroots of agency land. Why is that where you landed? You mentioned, paying it forward from what you've learned from your mentors, but how did that come about? I'm curious.
I'll start with me, and I think it's probably one of the reasons we are so close is come from like quite humble beginnings. I think none of us were particularly kind of wealthy growing up, and I didn't even go to uni, and I always felt like I was given the opportunity of a lifetime to work in media. Just being in an office, I was so respectful of and appreciative of, and I wanted to work hard for that. And I was very lucky that I, got the attention of some people when I was younger and had first started in the industry. They took me under their wing and really built me up. I mean, Matt Baxter is back in the market and, ruffling feathers as he always does, but he was probably my first strategic boss and certainly mentor. And, the things that he instilled in me 16, 17 years ago, I still think about every day.
Yeah.
And it genuinely changed my life, right? It didn't just propel my career trajectory. It changed my life, genuinely.
Yeah.
I have
In what way?
Beautiful, wonderful family. I have an amazing house that I love, and I have a life that I love. I get to do wonderful things like this. I get to meet I get to work with my best friend. And I honestly put a lot of that down to some of my early mentors, because I would have left this industry had I not been given some of the opportunities that I was given.
Yeah.
And had somebody not seen me and given me light and a stage to shine on and believed in me, then God knows what I would have been doing, right? So I think for me, I feel a responsibility to then give that back and do it for other people. And you know, Colt said one of my kind of behaviors or principles, I like to build people up. You know, I'm someone that needs positive reinforcement. I can be motivated by negative or positive, but I've seen when you believe in someone, it changed something in them, and a light is ignited, and it can genuinely change their lives. And work is such a big part of our lives. And if you can do that for someone, and I have the power or opportunity to do that for someone, then I want to be doing that as much as possible.
Yeah, we do amazing stuff in this industry. Like, the work that we create is awesome. Like, I love like what we do, particularly from like a media and a craft point of view. But there's nothing more fulfilling than like seeing you had an impact on someone's life. And so like that's what gives us energy. Like, that's why we're in this. Like, seeing someone grow underneath us and hopefully overtake us is kind of, you know, that's a driving force for how we run our teams and for, you know, what we look for.
Like Colts did for me, by the way.
Well, we're going to get there. Yeah. We're going to get there. Okay, so for those that are tuning in, that are looking at this going, I'm picking up what you're putting down, but how on earth do I go about finding, you know, these unicorns that you know, of mentors, so to speak? What advice would you give them?
Unicorns. So going out and finding unicorns. Well, I think like it's really interesting, right? Because you go into a lot of mentor relationships looking for like a formal thing. You're going, oh, I need to find my mentor. They need to be external to the agency or like the business that I work in. I want new perspectives. I want to kind of grow out. But actually, like, a lot of the mentorship that I get is, you know, obviously from Sam and like what we have together and how we connect. I get a lot of value from reverse mentorship from my team, and, you know, getting fresh perspectives and new ways out. I think like everyone that you come into contact that you like emotionally resonate with has the power to be a mentor. And I don't like. There's definitely value in saying that you should have formalized relationships with people that are mentors, but equally, like, if you treat mentorship more as like a way of building connection with others, and so what are you going to like? I'm going to learn from you as much as like connect with you. I think that's generally a good secret for success.
I'll also say if you want someone to answer a door, you've got to knock on it.
Yeah.
Right. Big believer in that. So if you want something, you've got to tell someone.
No one's going to give it to you.
If you admire someone, if you see someone at a conference who's an amazing speaker and you're inspired by it, slide into their DMs. Like, we had to go up and physically ask people and tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, can I have a meeting with you? Can we have a chat? Whereas now it's a little bit easier to kind of communicate or find someone on LinkedIn.
Now the door's just open for you.
Yeah, but like just the idea of LinkedIn, you know, has kind of changed that. You can just reach out to people so much easier. Yeah. So I think, you know, if you see someone that you could think you want to have a relationship with, don't be afraid to ask them.
Yeah, just not.
And just, I think people like Colt say, people put pressure on these relationships. As soon as like you're a mentor, it's like, think of it as a sounding board.
Yeah,
right?
That's a great way.
The best mentorship I get from Colt and from Mel is when I just need to talk things out, right? And I think we get in our heads so much. Every single person in this and every industry bounces around their own head and overthinks things. As soon as it comes out of their head and you have someone that you can just be honest, you know, this is what I'm feeling and thinking. Sometimes Colt doesn't even have to tell me what I'm doing wrong or right. By the time I've opened up about it and said it, I'm like, oh, okay,
We
of
should
course.
coach you through it. Yeah.
Exactly, I coach myself. So that's the thing I would say. Get it out of your head and don't be afraid to ask.
I want to shift gears just a little bit. You know, sorry.
Did you just laugh at the pun of your own last?
Yeah, I mean, it never stops being funny that my name is Geer. Yeah.
I literally walked into
good.
that. And I didn't even intend it. I didn't even get to enjoy my own pun. You guys are renowned for being the pitch hit squad, to really understand what is going to break out a brand. So I want to know, where are we getting it all wrong?
In pitches?
Yeah. Let's start there and then in brands.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I think so. You're right. Pitching has been a great gift to us, honestly. I think people talk about pitching as gets a lot of bad press. I give it a lot of bad press sometimes. And I think I want to make sure people understand it has been a great gift to us. We have done so well in pitching and it drives businesses forward. There's not many problems that a business has that can't be solved with new business. So we've always loved it. I think one of the things that's made us successful is what we were talking about earlier, is the combination of different skills. So you think about a pitch, you walk into a room and it can be up to like 15, 20 clients sometimes you're pitching to. It's a lot of people you've got to impress. If you've got, and I'll just use the example of me, Colts and Mel as an example, at the front of that pitch, got Colts with his big, beautiful brain, his humility, and almost a magnetism to that, which is going to be really attractive to a lot of those clients, and they're going to connect with that. Some are going to connect with my energy up front, and they're going to want to be around that. And some are going to look at Mel as, the wonderful, intelligent, aspirational person she is, and they're going to connect with that. And what I've learned over time is the combination of those three things. Having different types of leaders that different clients can connect with in that room is so important, because you only have a couple of hours to have someone commit, hey, here's $100 million of my money I want you to spend for the next 3 to 5 years for me. And you've got like 1 or 2 meetings in it. It's crazy.
Corporate speed dating.
It is. Yeah. We talk about
high
it.
Stakes as well.
Talk about it as The Bachelor. We're standing up there begging for a rose, trying to impress them. They can't even remember our names, and there's millions of dollars at stake. It's crazy. So I think having a real combination of people that clients can connect with is super, super important. And I also think just like, you're never going to win a pitch by being in the middle. Right? You've got to swing for it. We call it win by 5, lose by 5. There's no point in coming second in a pitch. You got to go for it, and if they don't like it,
you're going to miss by margin.
Yeah,
then you're fine.
The worst thing that we dread is, wishing that we pushed it further. Like if we lose a pitch because we've thrown an idea that was too audacious out there, great. At least we know we can rest at night that we gave it everything that we could. It's nothing worse than feeling like you compromised on your quality. The other thing that I think is really important in the lens of pitching is it gets so much bad press in terms of the cost it has on business, the drain it has on people.
Which it does.
But it does, of course. Like there is rhyme and reason to that. But there's never any conversation on the counterbalance of the value of pitching. Like, we're in an industry where you're so frequently captured on this hamster wheel of the day-to-day that pitching actually gives you an opportunity to go, okay, well, where do we reinvent our product? How do we do something different? This is a client with capabilities that they're looking for that we're not particularly like an expert in right now. How do we bolster and build that? How do we kind of create that within our business? So, I think part of the success that we've had in new business is we almost treat new business as like a, what do you call it? Like a pressure cooker for product development.
Like catalyst for broader change. I love that.
Exactly.
It's a blood young talent.
It's an opportunity. Exactly. It's an opportunity for us to, put new talent, as you were saying, into sort of that pressure cooker environment. You kind of you by nature of it, you kind of lock yourselves into war rooms and you kind of really sweat the product and what you're doing and what you're saying, and then out of it, it's kind of like I'm a massive car guy, but you've got your car brands that have the performance.
You're in good company.
Yeah, you have the car brands that have the performance vehicles, but the whole purpose of those vehicles is so that the tech filters down into the everyday car. And that's the same way that we think about pitching. Is you go out there, you really crack this new product, this new way of thinking, and then all of a sudden
economics.
it filters
Then
into
it comes in.
the day-to-day product.
Time and time again, that's how we iterate product over time. I want to build and answer your question more directly, though, and bring it back to brands, because I think a lot of agencies in pitching, something they get wrong is they try and be who the client wants them to be as an agency. Like, oh, you care about data? We care about data too. We're the data people, Oh, you care about creativity? Yeah, we do creativity. And they change their story and who they are. And it smells like desperation. Clients can see it a mile away. And I think one of the things that we've been good at is like, well, this is who we are as a brand. We understand our own brand as an agency, and we don't change it for different clients that come along. And that way, if they like what that brand is, it's a very confident feeling in the room. If they like it, then they're attracted to it. And if they don't, well, then you don't end up working with clients that you're trying to shove work down their throat that they don't like. And the idea that you've figured out who you are as a brand and you have conviction and you don't change who it is just to try and impress people, that's not just a smart thing for agencies to do. That's what brands should be doing as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's authenticity, right?
Exactly.
And I love one of the things that I've noticed in what we've discussed is there's sort of a zoom in and a zoom out view in everything that you guys do, right? Like pitching, you zoom in and like, here's how we're going to nail it. But then when you zoom out, you've got the trickle down economics. Same with brands, right? We zoom in, we've got to be authentic with our brand, but zoom out, it saves us from heartache down the road. Right?
Yeah, massively.
Exactly.
I'm conscious of your time, gents, so I'm gonna throw a curly one at you. We're gonna switch. We end on the same last question, right? Which is if you could go back 20 years and give yourself advice, but I'm gonna do a little bit different. Colt, if you could go back 20 years and give Geer some advice, knowing what you know now, what would it be? And get ready, because you're getting the same question.
Go back 20 years and
You get to go 20 years, spring chicken, starting his career, knowing what you know now, knowing how you know him. What piece of advice would you give your buddy?
Oh, it's so hard because like all of the advice I've already given you.
Yes.
No, I think Sam's energy is infectious, and sometimes it's really difficult when you're the battery for other people, like how you keep your battery charged.
Yeah.
And I think I wouldn't tell him to change what he has done because of the success that he's created and the impact that he's given to the industry. But equally, it's take time for yourself and to make sure that you are as charged so that you can charge others. I think that's really important. And we've started to learn that a little bit, to let ourselves embrace the opportunities that this career gives you.
Yeah.
I think early on in our careers we were potentially a little bit guilty of just being the bright-eyed bushy tails and I'm going to look after this and go to these events and do it from a learning experience as opposed to actually a life experience point of view. And we've started to get better with that. And I would say
enjoying the
do that
journey
earlier.
as much as the destination.
The journey, exactly. It's a really good way to phrase it. But yeah.
Sam, what advice would you give?
Oh, young Chris.
Yeah.
So good to see you. Yeah, you look great, by the way. I would honestly, one of the joys of my career has been watching Colts, the emancipation of Colts, right? Seeing him almost turn from a chrysalis into a butterfly and step into the limelight. And it's taken a long, long time. But seeing him up on stage now at any conference you ever go to, talking with authority and being the star that he is and sharing his brilliance with everyone so openly and confidently, it honestly, I sit there so proud. Even just last week at Umbrella 360, and I would say to him 20 years ago, you deserve that limelight and step into it now. Don't wait. I think it's taken Colts 10 years to realize that he deserves the attention and the limelight. And it's taken a lot of external validation and winning 20 different adult trophies a year to finally believe it. And I would say to young Colts, mate, you don't need that validation. Step into it now. And then in 20 years' time, who knows where you'll be. Probably not stuck with this plug, Yeah.
Gentlemen, I think you guys are a masterclass in the power of human connection. I have certainly enjoyed having a chat, but thank you for coming to take the time. For those tuning in, find your Colts, find your gear.
Definitely.
I think that there's a huge unlock, and we often discount the value of companionship and mateship in work. So
Completely
thank
agree.
you
Thanks for
coming
having
on
us
today.
down. You're a legend, mate.